Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Pinstripes After Dark. I am Uncle Tats, and we are glad to have the show back. I know I am. I know all of you are. It has been a long time since we've had the midnight show. And for those that don't know, we're going to talk about a little baseball, a little bit of everything in between. Whatever you guys throw at the topics is how we will do it. Before coming on, I did see a short from 161 River Avenue. Jason, we all know Jason. We all love Jason. And it seems like Gleyber Torres has cleared out his social media of anything Yankee related. So that's where we are going to lead off. And it seems that Gleyber Torres is not expecting to be coming back to the Yankees. Some will celebrate it. Some will be a little trepidatious about it, some uncertainties. But you have to wonder and you have to ask yourself, did he deserve some type of contract? Did he deserve to have at least a seat at the negotiation table to return to the Yankees? Because he wanted to be Yankee so bad for the rest of his career. So before we take even a deeper dive into that, let's get to the roll call. I love the roll calls. What's going on, Ken? Good to see you hanging out with us so late. Jacob Petruzzi, what's going on, familia? We got Jonathan hanging out with us. Jonathan, how's it going? And, of course, we got Brad Jewis hanging out with us. You see NFV is also hanging out with us in the chat. Good evening, everyone. Feeling like garbage. Tuning in, might fall asleep soon. I hope you feel better. And, rest up for that show tomorrow. And shoot me a message if you need anything. All right. So hopefully everybody is feeling better. Lou, what's going on? Well, good to see you hanging out with us. So with the news with Gleyber, I kind of think that he did deserve a seat at the negotiation table. Did I want him back? Not necessarily, but if the deal was right, I think it's something the Yankees could have worked on, and kind of for budget reasons, maybe play it into the budget where you were able to maybe get him on the cheap and kind of steal him for a year, or a year or two. Let him, give him a shot and see if it would help the budget for more pitching, bullpen help, for especially, it goes without saying, the money for Juan Soto. But I still think he deserved a seat at the table. That's where I'm going to leave it at that. No, I don't think he would sign for a 1 year, but if it was like 1 year with a team option, make it a 2-year deal, on the cheap, almost like a LeMahieu type, where you get him for maybe 12, 13, max 15 million a year, is not going to break the bank. So I felt that was something. A qualifying offer, yeah, Jonathan, I understand that. A qualifying offer for 1 year, they didn't give it to him. They didn't give it to him because the qualifying offer this year was $21.5 million. I don't think that is money that they wanted to put into that particular player. I think that's where things went wrong. Sean Browning, what's going on, Sean? I saw you sneak in there. 1 year for deal for Torres at the least. It's possible. It really is. I don't think that this is a situation where you just throw a guy like that to the side. He like everybody, like all of us, we have strengths, we have weaknesses, right? And when you really want to bring out the best in somebody, you kind of champion their positives, right? Gleyber Torres, I'm going to work on that, Jonathan. All right, I promise you that. Um, so where I was saying, I think that they could have done something for him. I think that he did bring some positivity to it. He never. There's one thing aside from the athletic part of it. He was a very positive outlook in the clubhouse. He embraced all the love from the fans. He never bitched about any of the anger from the fans if there was something gone wrong. He did come off maybe not as openly as somebody like Giancarlo Stanton, who will stand in front of the mic and be like, "Hey, I fucked up. That was a terrible game." Glaber, I think, kind of handled the miscues in a different way, but was never really a crybaby about it. And so, and um, Sean's also adding in maybe it was time for both sides to move on. Look, if that's a decision, then hey, I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay if he leaves. I'm okay if they bring him back on a very team friendly deal. I'm not going in. I'm not going to play to his market because he had a good second half. He did have a really good postseason, and it's always with fans. It's always what have you done for me lately? But also to Jonathan's point, the fielding has been a huge problem. But is that Torres or was that the Yankees screwing him up, having him going back and forth from short to second? And when he was failing at second base, they just let him rot there. And by the time they moved him, it was too late. It really was too late. His confidence in his ability to field really took a toll on him. And I think that's something that he never recovered from mentally, which is why it wouldn't bother me if they did let him walk. What's going on, Dev? Um, there are things, but the Yankees still have options. They still have Birdie under control. They still have Jazz, and you still have enough pieces in. You have Durbin, Peraza. Like there are still options where you're not going to feel it if you do lose somebody like Gleyber. It's just now. The question that's been coming up: do you leave Jazz at third and let him just develop there and go after a second baseman? Do you move Jazz back to second and then go after a third baseman? That is something that's going to be weighed in heavily on. So it's are they going to try? What are they going to do with Vivas? Is another guy. So that really comes into play here. So let's get to more of the comments as we are going. And we got Brad in here going, Glaber's defense brain fades, won't be missed, to be honest. Yet the defense miscues, the base running miscues, when they happen, it's usually at a clutch moment that puts us in a bad spot to come into the game. Sean Browning, I wish Torres a fresh start, but I wish Torres a fresh start would be good for him. That is extremely possible. Look, wherever Torres ends up, I'm not going to be like laughing at that team that they got that player. I think, wherever he goes, I think he's going to strive, and that's fine. No ill will I have no ill will towards him at all. Then if he's in Durbin can play third. I know. I think he can, but I don't know how strong he is at third. That's why it gets a little muddy. I think Durbin, it would serve him better to just go to second base and utilize Durbin if Jazz feels very confident that he can improve what was already a pretty good defense at third base. And I think, more of a full year with Jazz will actually going to really get the best out of him. Jonathan, also signing Torres, hurt signing Soto, that could be an issue. That's why I'm saying it's got to be a team deal. I'm not, Torres can't manipulate the negotiations. The Yankees would have to say, all right, here's our offer, take it or leave it. If you feel like you need to leave and go elsewhere, that's fine. You close the book, you move on. That's it, done. Brad's adding in the Durbin played the All-Star game at third. Okay. I did forget about that briefly. It's been a late night. As I get back into my rhythm with the night shows, believe me, it'll come off a lot smoother, a little sharper. But Durbin did play third at the All-Star game. That's why Durbin's one of those. He's a very versatile player. We also have Osvaldo Cabrera, who also plays multiple positions. And so we also don't know what the health is with LeMahieu. I think he still has one more year to go. What's his role going to be? So that is something else that really needs to be taken into account. So the infield, I think, is going to be fine. It's really just securing the outfield. And what's going to happen if we get Soto back or if he goes elsewhere, that's going to be when things are just going to really just get all fucked up. Shawnee, how's going to California to meet Soto, talk about full court press? That was something else the guys were talking about this morning. So I'll wet the whistle and we'll get into the talks from today so I could my 2 cents in. And look, one of the points that Donald was making this morning was how people on social media were like, you already had him for a year. What more can you sell him on? To me, going and meeting him, like with Rob's point, look, don't worry about it. We'll come to you, right? Wherever you are, we'll go. I also think when you're dealing with a free agent, even though he was already in your organization, you do have to show that sign of respect that, look, we'll put the work in and make things comfortable for you so you can enjoy your off season. You gave us a phenomenal year. You take it easy, relax at home. We'll come over to your house. I think that's really where that lies. So I don't think it's that big a deal that they're going out to California. I think it's the right move. It really is. Yeah, Brad, you're right. I saw that comment that you put in this morning. It's the epitome of arrogance. If you don't meet face to face with a free agent, what are you going to do? Call him up or just, take it for granted that, well, he was already here, so it's guaranteed that he's coming back. Who would want to leave this place? A lot of people do. A lot of people leave. We don't get every free agent. We don't re-sign every player. It's a different business than it was when George had it. George, they didn't have to operate under the guidelines of the revenue taxes and all that shit. Like, they didn't have that back then, which some people don't realize. When they're like, well, when George was around, no, when George was around, it was a different financial world for baseball, right? And now with the shared revenue, and we're going to get into that probably in another episode because that's a discussion amongst itself. I think that it's just going to be one of those things where they're going to be traveling a lot. It's almost like they're on a campaign now to sell the attraction of being a New York Yankee, whether you've already been here or you haven't. To get into more of the comments. All right. So Jonathan saying Yankees will make a few trades this offseason. That's a given. They do operate with a lot of trades. You're going to see a lot of roster movement. Not coming, guys, shuffling around on the 40-man. And if he's throwing in here, the DJ is not leaving $30 million. Well, who would? And when they first signed it, when they first put DJ back, and they gave him the deal he's on, it seemed like a very fair deal for all parties involved. And DJ's health just really derailed the uh, the levelness of that contract. If he was still playing to a competitive level, we're looking at it going, hey, it's still a good deal. We're still getting something out of him. So that's the other thing. It's also like with Stanton. A lot of people want to shit on Stanton, with him. The goal with Stanton has been the same since I've been saying it. So is Robin Donald. Get him healthy to the postseason and just unleash him. Just take the leash off and just let him go. So I said leash and the puppy moved. So then Brad here is also saying that Kay is a complete moron for his rant over Hal. I have not heard the rant yet. I will be looking that up. So I really can't give a complete thought on that. But Kay sometimes does have a habit of ranting and raving in the wrong direction. Sometimes it's legit. It's justified. They met Yamamoto in California. They're going to travel. It's just, if he was in Florida, they'd be going to Florida. It's not like, and I think that when you look back, this is one of the things that aggravated a lot of fans about with Machado's negotiations. Where they invited him to the stadium. He was already in the AL East. He knows the stadium. Like, what new are you going to walk him around to? Be like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Look at the clubhouses. They've been here already. Like, no, go visit them. Yeah, and if you crap it on Stanton, stupid. It really is. Jonathan saying DJ hasn't been the same since 2000, since 2020. That's true. It's been a rough ride, and I feel bad for DJ. I do. He's done nothing wrong. He got old quick. Same thing with Rizzo. They were able to exercise their options, so they don't have to worry about Rizzo right now. But they still have to figure out what they're going to do with DJ, and he's not going to, like NFE said, they're not going to leave it on the table. Showing I like DJ, but his injuries have taken a toll on his field performance. He may rebound, but keep him as a bench piece. That's what they're gonna. They don't have a choice. They got to do that. So that's just what it's going to come down to. They have to create these situations where they have the options as the season goes on to kind of plug a few people in to keep them loose, keep them sharp. But they really have to figure out where they want to go with their starting nine. I think that's going to be the thing because they are going to need they could play games with the first and with second and third base, with players already on the organization. But are we really that trustworthy that guys like Ben Rice are going to be ready? Are we going to put all our eggs in the basket that Cabrera and Birdie can platoon first base like they did in the postseason and have long sustained success? I don't think they can. And it's not a knock on them. I just don't think that they, I think at this point they're not everyday players. You can't rely on them game in, game out. You need a legitimate first baseman. And that's where I'm putting, I'm putting all my chips for first base on Christian Walker. That's it. If you need to make a trade, that route can be examined, but I think Christian Walker's the move for first base, because he's a seasoned guy, he's a veteran guy, 30 something years old, 34 I think he is. It gives you a chance where you can give him. I think you can get him on a 3-year deal with a fourth year option that is not going to completely handcuff the organization for growth. So I think that's where they have to look at some of these, some of the positions. Is what are you going to do to have guys that they do emerge? Yeah, Murakami is another option, Sean. You're absolutely right. But you don't want to have somebody come in at first with a long-term deal where now it's you have guys that, say Rice does have like a phenomenal spring training, right? Then what do? You're just gonna have him rusting. It gives you a chance. I think the next couple of drafts, I think you're going to see more first basemen. You know, the other position that hasn't really been talked about is the catcher position. Do you just, go with Austin Wells, who was nominated for Rookie of the Year? Good for him. I think he deserves, the respect of that. Is Rice going to be his backup, or what are they going to do with Trevino? So it's kind of, the catcher position, something else that's going to come into discussion. Yeah, Walker's a close bat, Sean. You're right. That's why I like Walker. Walker's that guy you could put in. You can count on him game in, game out, and you can count on him to get on base when it's needed. Brad here is saying, well, Walker is 18 months younger than Rizzo. He has a qualifying offer attached. Well, that's the problem with the qualifying offer. But at this point, you gotta sign him. You gotta take the hit on the QO. I don't think the Yankees have an option. I don't think there are other options, but is there a better one than Walker? Murakami? But that's going to be an insane, that's going to be another insane. You're going to be too busy in intense negotiations for Soto. How many places at once can, the organization be when trying to negotiate for these players? So that's another issue. It really is. So if you're enjoying this good discussion so far, I know it's a little late. I know I'm a little rusty in the late hours. I do apologize for that. But if you want to join us, hit that like button. If you are watching and you want to join the live streams in the chat, here's all you got to do. It's very simple. Hit that subscribe button. And then just so you know, as we get going, after the winter meetings, this show will be a members only live stream. And so we would appreciate the support as we try to keep this channel growing and giving a little back to the people that have had our back since day one. Jonathan, yes, After Dark will be back every Monday at midnight. And so the show is coming back. That is not the issue. That's fine. When we were doing the show a while back, it was after I had gotten the dog, and she was 8 weeks old. And so when I get home from work, rather than jumping right on the computer, it was a lot easier for me with her training. That when I got home from work, that everything was all about getting the puppy acclimated to some training, because she's a big dog that requires a lot of training. So at 10 and a half months now, she's in her routine. She knows she knows her role. So how has Tanaka and Matsui to help with Murakami and Sasaki? Sasaki, I'm not too familiar with. So I know that he's very, very highly touted pitcher. And his idol was Matsui. A lot of people I've seen refer to him, and I hate the comparisons. They refer to him as the next Jacob deGrom. And, when he came in, is that going to lead to the same issues with injuries on his arm? Because one of the things that derailed deGrom was he didn't have the Verlander effect, where he can go the first couple of innings and still have an effective fastball without and lessen the velocity, and then gear up at the end of the game. Where deGrom was, throwing his arm out, right out of the gate. And he paid the price for it with all the injuries at the wrong time. Yeah, no, I did see the pictures with Sasaki and Tanaka. I know he loves having that. Sean's adding in here. Sasaki is a fireballer relief pitcher who can convert to a starter. That's what makes Sasaki a little more intriguing, because they need help in both aspects. If he has to stay in the bullpen because he's just not able to build himself up to go innings, then that there's your help for the bullpen. It might be a little more money because of the market, but the Yankees, I think that they got lucky with the bullpen they had and having the success they did. They weren't supposed to be as good as they were through the regular season. The postseason, they were phenomenal. So I think it's going to come down to the bullpen is going to be the issue. I think we're going to see a completely revamped bullpen at that point. What's going on in LA? How's it going? So let's see a couple more comments in here. Brad is adding in that Sasaki has started in Japan the last 2 years. Okay. Do you have his numbers, Brad? If you have those, I'd like to see that. Like I said, the international market, that's usually not my my area of expertise, as they say. So, but yeah, I think that the bullpen. I think the bullpen's going to look a little different. Here's my question for you guys: what do you guys see them doing with Poteet? Do you see them moving him into a starter role as the fifth starter, or do you see them using him as a bullpen piece? So let me know how you feel about Cody Poteet, and what are your expectations for his role as the starter or reliever? Sasaki is a stud, and I do mean stud. All right, well, let us know how those love letters go. You can see Poteet being traded. Interesting. Where that would I don't want him to get traded. I would like to see him. I would like to see them keep him. I think Poteet's got a lot of potential. Long man, spot starter. I can see that as a very effective role for him. Poteet could be a bullpen guy. I want to get this message in from Ken. Sasaki throws 99 to 101 miles an hour. He's only thrown 100 innings pitched once. That's a little. Every Japanese pitcher that's come to the MLB has been injured within 2 years. Hard pass, would rather spend the IFA money on Murakami. That's interesting. You know what? I think as much as obviously we saw LI is very high on him. I know it just seems like when we get these international guys, especially from Japan, more times than not, especially the pitchers, it takes a while for them to get their rhythm. And that is not as sharp though that first year. So the injuries are always an issue because the game is played. I think it's just played different. You can't spend IFA money on Murakami because when he comes over, he'll be 25. Is there a cutoff for the Sasaki will be different? All right, I got to research that for Wednesday's show. Plus 6 day versus 5 day transition. Sean, that's the next. See, that's the point. It's like we saw how many times with Tanaka how that extra day would prove so much better. But when you only pitch with a 5-man rotation, something's got to get. Like, are you going to disrupt the the flow of your rotation just because you want to give them that extra day. It gets all screwy, and then we get all pissed off when they don't, when they're pitching on short, for them what would be considered short rest. Yeah, that's what we're saying, Jonathan. Pitchers pitch once a week, not every 5 days. And so I want to bring up. I brought this question up a while ago. I want to bring it back up here, as kind of like the final topic. It's going to be a short show just to get the show reintroduced. But with the international free agents and the posting and all of that, the question would be: does that alter? How does that play mentally on the kids in the minor leagues that have been working their way through, that don't have the privilege of getting called up right as they get, they're available? Like these guys that are working their asses off in double A, triple A, and they get held back because there's a better international free agent when the team has already invested all that time into them, and they get pushed to the wayside. How does that affect the mentality and the mental struggles of American-born players? Would you anticipate as time goes on, as the international market continues to grow, as the game grows globally, that becomes an issue where there's that animosity, and maybe have players in the U.S. be like, look, if it's going to take me 6-7 years to get called up, I'd rather, go play another sport. Let them go overseas and fill these rosters. How do you guys feel about that? Sean here saying baseball is the hardest to succeed. Not every player becomes a major leaguer. That's true. It would be hurtful mentally, but they can think of it more as competition. And it is a competition, Jonathan. But I want to get to this point with Sean. We're going to go through a few of these topics and these comments and break them down. Now, we'll get to that comment. Sorry, I gotta, chew and walk and follow, chew gum at the same time. And it's been a long day. So baseball's hard to succeed. Not every player can become a major leaguer, and that's true. Not every player can. But if you have a player, and it's not even, let's take the international market out of it, right? You have a guy, let's take, what's going on? And if you bro, go get some rest, man. We'll talk to you in the morning. And shoot me a text if you need any help tomorrow. All right? I got you, bro. It's when you're a prospect and you're working your butt off, and we're going to use the Yankees because the Yankees have this obsession with, keeping every young player they have and not utilizing them properly, right? Say they put all this effort, they're putting all this effort into guys in the shortstop, where you had Volpe, you had Peraza, Arias was one, and they would go get a shortstop on the free agent market. Now you're blocked. There's nowhere for you to go. If that was me, I'd be like, "What the fuck, man? I put all that work in. I would go into the front office and be like, bro, trade me, because you already made your decision that you're not going to play me. So it's that play me or trade me mentality, and I think it causes a lot of disruption. So That's just something that kind of irks me a little bit. And Jonathan's comment could be hurtful mentally, but they have to think of it more of a competition. Well, that's what it is. You can do everything right. You can play everything by the book, and it's still the team just won't give you a shot. Freaking Peraza starts a playoff game, and then he's nowhere to be seen. It really pisses people off. Pisses me off. I'm like, what more do these guys have to do to be like, all right, we don't need to spend money on the free agent for every position. We can go for the big ticket item. We can go for a big ticket item and do what we have to do. Fill the needs, fill the positions from within. It's like there was a poll put out. I can't remember who it was. Would you rather spend the money on Soto and then fill the rest of the positions from the bottom of the barrel, or let Soto go, put your faith in Dominguez and Jones to round out the outfield, and spread the money on other free agents to secure your infield, because the infield is a big issue. And I think that is a very legitimate question. Because I think that the way that they worded that, it actually made a lot of sense. They were able to word it where it's not like saying, well, we could afford not to lose Soto. We can't. We can't afford not to sign Soto. Because think about this team with everything before Soto got here. We didn't even make the playoffs last year. Then we come back with Soto, and here we are in the World Series, as minute as it was. So that's the other issue. A couple more comments here. Sean Brown's using the example of Thairo Estrada. Let me tell you, he can play. Thairo Estrada's a good player. And they just didn't have the room for him. Florial was another guy they fucked over. LA's thrown in here, not necessarily because the players the Yankees can love to move to third and second. No, well, that's the problem. We need to fill third and second base. We need to fill up first base. We pretty much need a whole new infield. The only one that's going to still be there in the same position at this point is Volpe. Everybody else, we don't know who's playing where. So that's why the Yankees have a lot of fucking work to do. And I think they're going to run, they're really going to play themselves into trouble in the market. It's going to come down to trusting some of these young players. I would sign Soto and fill the rest of the roster with veterans that will sign for cheap. The Yankees, they went the veteran route to try to keep everything rolling. In the 2000 teens, it didn't work. It really didn't. I know it was different, than it is now. I'm tired of the veterans. They're breaking down. They don't have the longevity like they used to. Finding a veteran that can stay healthy long term is too risky. I'd rather go with Soto because no one on the free agent market is as good as Soto. Facts. He is. There's nobody even close to Soto on the free agent market. I would bring back Rizzo as well to help Soto. No, come on, dude. You playing that game? This is why I got to read it before I post it. No, Soto's not playing first base. Stop. This is what gets you in trouble in the first place. Soto's an outfielder. Soto, just like anybody else in their position, they're going to have ups and downs. Did I think that Soto was like a phenomenal outfielder? No. But you could say that about a lot of players. And bringing back Rizzo, all you're doing is just pissing more money away. Unless you're going to hire him as put him on the coaching staff. That I'm okay with. You want to put Rizzo on the coaching staff to work with the infielders? Awesome. All for it. But not for Soto to play first base. What's going on, TC? Good evening. Good to see you hanging out with us. Soto's a god-awful outfielder. No, he's not god-awful. No. We've seen tons worse. Tons worse. Not many ageless wonders. Yeah, exactly true. There are not many guys out there that really move the pipeline here. What's going on, Will Starr? What's going on, Will? Jonathan's thrown in here. Soto won't play first base in the near future. It's. Wouldn't you rather have Soto in the outfield with Judge and have Christian Walker, who is actually playing first base, play first base? This is the problem that a lot of the Yankees were having. This is the organizational issue. Stop putting players out of their position, hoping that they'll figure it out. It doesn't freaking work. You might find a diamond in the rough. Right? Cabrera wasn't in he had to play left field a little bit. It was all right, But they, he had a couple of good plays and they overused them. And he left me exposed. Exactly, TC. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm putting I'm putting my chips in. It's Christian Walker for first base. You're signing him for his bat, not his fielding. You want to? All right. So let's play this game. All right, Eli, we haven't had a chance to scream at each other in a while. All right. Are you really taking that risk of Soto going to the Mets because you want, as the Yankees, want to sell him on first base? Come on. And then you're going to be deceptive, selling him on the outfield, and then be like, oh, signs the contract. Oh, by the way, you're our next year's first baseman. Hard pass on Christian. Eli, watch the games. Put the book away and watch the game. I can't. I wanted to have a little fun, but that's no. I'm not pass. That's not a hard pass on Christian Walker. Come on. Not a big fan of Bregman, but I'd love to see him at third. We need to shore up the defense. I can't stand freaking Bregman. Nah, tease it. Bregman's a phenomenal player, but I got PTSD with him, and I'm not going to get over it. We got my cousin Dick in here. Dominic Smith would be a great first base in the Bronx. Too bad he's a Red Sox. Well, they can keep him. Not a big fan of him. Soto doesn't have the reflexes to play first. And he's saying Dom's with the Reds, go get him. Well, that would be a trade. No, but that's why I want Christian Walker. One, he's a clutch hitter, because statisticians don't like to use that word. It's a bad word. He's a clutch hitter. He's got the experience for first base. And it gives you another year to hope for the next year to have a better this free agent class sucks. It sucks. So they're going to have to make some moves to kind of stall really going over the budget. Yeah, 34, 35, what's the difference at that point? You already you already cast them off to the retirement home. You can't do that. You can't. You need one. I want to see as many of the kids get a chance as they can. But without the veteran presence, what's the point? What's the point? You can have, yeah, and they don't need to. And to your other point with Rizzo, they already have DJ that can coach them along. I like this comment here from TC. First and third base must be addressed this offseason. No DFA bums. Please stay off the DFA market. Stay off the waiver wire. It's no. I'm giving Walker 3 years. That's it. If he doesn't want a 3-year deal, no, I'm moving on. I'll go after Murakami at that point. But no, TC first base is my priority. We have enough that we can shuffle around. Yeah, but what if Jazz wants to go back to second? Like, you're going to need a third baseman. If he wants to stay at third base, then you got to look for a second baseman. But you have nobody right now to play first. That's the issue. That's why first base is the priority. Is once you figure out your first baseman, then you go to Jazz, be like, all right, where do you want to play? Where are you going to put your work in this off season? Do you want to continue working it? Jazz, he's a very good third baseman. I think he's going to do just fine. I think towards the end of the season, I think Jazz was pressing, especially some of his plays in the postseason. I think he was struggling with the bat and wanted to make up for it with the glove, and it doesn't work that way. I've already ripped him on it. I thought that he was he overextended himself at third, trying to be too much of a range. How did no one watch Jazz at who's saying that? And Volpe's not going to second base. Volpe's our shortstop. Let it go. They're not moving him. He's going to be fine. He played 2 freaking years at short on the major league level, and you want to ostracize it. This is the same problem they did. You're going to give him the Volpe treatment, the Torres treatment. Right? You're going to move him over to second. What if he's worse at second base? Then you just ruined his whole freaking career. People want to hate on because and this is the big problem with fans. If the Yankees don't do what they want them to do, and I'm not singling out anybody here, right? We'll get frustrated, but we have good debates. And it's not even just the Yankees, sports in general. If they don't make the move that we want, it's the wrong move, and they're all idiots. The organization has no feel for anything. They don't have a pulse of the team or all that bullshit. Peraza will never get a look, TC. They buried him. They gave him they Floriel'd him. They ruined him. And it's a shame. Too many errors and see, I'm with LA on that one, TC. I think that I didn't see. I saw him actually play a very solid third base. I just think in the postseason he made a couple of errors, cut in front of Volpe, and just he was trying too hard to make the play, and he fell on his face for it. But I think he was a phenomenal third baseman. I think if he stays at third base all year next year, he'll be a Gold Glove candidate. With Volpe, 4th youngest hit a grand slam of the World Series. All right, I had to read back through the comments to see what you're talking about. What? Jazz had 7 errors with the Yankees. Yeah, Volpe. Yeah, he won a Gold Glove and the Gold Glove finalist, but he's a terrible fucking shortstop. Come on. You're telling me that baseball has it wrong? All those people that put those awards together, they don't watch the games. He's not going to win it this year. He's a finalist. Yeah, I don't. It seems like a lot. Well, now that was only 7 errors with the Yankees. That's not the whole season. That's a lot for a half a year. Is that, Brad? Are you also including the postseason? Because that's the postseason is a little different when he didn't win. No, we know he didn't win. They haven't announced it yet. Yeah, which the he's getting the Gold Glove. Please, Soto was a Gold Glove candidate. That just invalidated the award. Listen, Lindor got fucked. He really did. Lindor got screwed. I'll be the first to say it. I think they did him. Baseball did him dirty this year. So it's unfortunate what they did to Lindor. He carried that team, not Alonso. And Alonso hasn't even his name told just now hasn't even been mentioned for the infield as an option. What does that say about Alonso? So Lindor got the FSU treatment last year. All right. So final question of the night, and then we're gonna have and then we'll sign off because it did come up. LI wants to talk about Met players now, because that's the team he's going to root for next year. So some of the award. Oh, the Gold Glove winners were last week. Yeah, they mentioned the finalists for the other awards today. But if they did go after Alonso, without knowing the contract, thumbs up or thumbs down? Let me know in the chat. I think his spin would work really well at Yankee Stadium. I think it would really sour a lot of Met fans, which is always fun, especially if he plays well. But a lot of people are it's either get him or let him walk. But again, he's also another Boris client. So so let's see. We got Sean saying pass on Alonso. Li pass on Alonso. Jonathan, he's saying yes, he wants Alonso. No, thumbs down from Jonathan. And look, the Mets fan himself is saying it. Alonso doesn't protect Judge. That's what we need, protection for Judge. Just not a consistent enough hitter. He really fell off. He goes, I will pitch to Pete all day before Judge. You're right, Nick. Pete's not intimidating anymore. Alonso could be another Gallo. Well, we don't want another Gallo. That would be bad for business. So, but these are all discussions. We're going to be having a lot of these going further into, further down the rabbit holes with some players, going back and forth. And just like I said, I enjoy arguing with some of you guys. It's all love. Disagree, agree or disagree. We all respect each other's comments here. And I appreciate every single one of you that have joined me for the return of the Pinstripes After Dark. Had a blast. We'll be doing this on Mondays going forward at midnight. So make sure you hit those notification bells. Make sure you subscribe. Also, make sure you hit that like button. Go into the community tab if you want to become a member. And join the official family. Make sure you hit those memberships because there will be more exclusive content coming for members. In case you didn't know, After the winter meetings, this show will be for members only. During the season, the play-by-play, the watch parties, as we're going to be calling them, those will be for members only as well. So there's going to be a lot of perks for the family members. So let's gear that up and help keep this channel running. Appreciate everything you guys do for us, as you guys appreciate us giving our time to you guys. So it's a very healthy give and take. So with that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. There's been Pinstripes After Dark. This is where fans become family. So as I always like to say, with us, pitch us your pride and play on.